Ura lura lura, ura lura lai, ura lura lura. What's that green shit on my eye?
A one, two, three, four.
Welcome to another episode of A Very Odd Caster. This would be our St. Patrick's Day special, because it is St. Patrick's Day week. And we are fortunate to be joined this week by none other than my cousin from Ireland. We call him Lucky Kevin. His name is Kevin O'Say-Kenyusi. So yeah, it's a little bit of a strange Irish name, I know. But you see, the Irish are now starting to do the same thing that we do here in the States, where they're going by three names, the mother's maiden name, and so cousin Kevin, Lucky Kevin, as we like to call him, his father was O'Shea, so his name was Kevin O'Shea. Now Kevin, the first goofy thing he did was claim that the H was silent. It's not O'Shea, it's O'Say. All right. Stay with me here, right? So my aunt, his mother, is Kenesey. Another nice Irish name, right? But he says it's pronounced Kenyusi. So he loses the H in O'Shea, and he changes the pronunciation of Kenesey. So instead of O'Shea Kenesey, it's O'Say Kenyusi. So, Lucky Kevin's a little strange, as we're going to be finding out. But at any rate, I don't get caught up in these complications with the three names and everything. Kevin O'Say Kenyusi, right? It's K-O-K, or cock, right? Anyway, so I'm really pumped up, because not only is it St. Patrick's Day week, but I am doing something special this St. Patrick's week. I'm going to Savannah, Georgia, home to perhaps the third largest St. Patrick's Day party / parade in the country, behind New York and Chicago. And I'm really pumped up, because never done it before. And I guess this is the first time they've rolled out the green carpet since COVID. So I'm very pumped up to be going to Savannah this week to celebrate the big day. Looking forward to lots of Guinness, lots of good food, lots of good music, lots of laughter and joy. Oh, and lots of limericks too. And speaking of limericks, let's turn to my cousin Lucky Kevin O'Say-Kenyusi, live from Cork, Ireland, with a limerick.
An Argentine gaucho named Bruno said, "Ompin is one thing I do know. A woman is fine and a sheep is divine. But a llama is numero uno."
Little bestiality joke. St. Patrick's Day used to be like one of my favorite days in my youth. Now I'm much more mellow, as you can tell. And so I kind of cool it a little bit, but we'll see, right? But there are certainly plenty of St. Patrick's Day memories to share, but I won't bore you with my experiences. Let's turn to Lucky Kevin himself to share with you his favorite St. Patrick's Day memories.
I remember one St. Patrick's Day, me and me mates were down at the local pub, drinking a few pints, and then another year I was drinking Guinness with the Caelan Elaine, and well, and then there was the time that me and me mates, who am I fooling? I can't remember anything about St. Patrick's Day.
Well, Lucky Kevin isn't the only one who has trouble remembering the events of St. Patrick's Days past. I can certainly relate. So here we are now heading into the middle of March, and this past weekend, the time changed. We set our clocks forward an hour, and I've always wondered about when the time changes in either direction. People always say, oh, we lose an hour of sleep, or oh, we gain an hour of sleep. So I think this time, because we were setting the clocks forward, the theory was we lose an hour of sleep. And I'm thinking, why do people always mention sleep, right? It has nothing to do with your sleep. You're still going to sleep as long as you sleep. If you sleep 6 hours, you're still going to sleep 6 hours. If you sleep 9 hours, it's still going to be 9 hours, right? What you lose in moving the clocks ahead an hour is an hour of the day, I guess, right? So it's an hour of doing shit, an hour of productivity, maybe. That's why they do this on Sunday, of course, because fewer people are working and it's less disruptive. But I don't understand why it's always about the sleep. I never worry about that. I'm like, it's Sunday, I'm sleeping in, right? A day of rest, right? So, just my 2 cents. Oh, I think it's time for another limerick from Lucky Kevin.
There was a young lass o' Madras who had a magnificent hat. Not rounded and pink, as you probably think, but was grey, had long ears, and ate grass.
You know, donkey, ass, donkey, ass. Huh, okay. What else is going on here this fine week? Oh, the Oscars were just yesterday. And the film, I knew these would come in handy for something. The film Everybody Loves Everything, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, won big at the Oscars. It's apparently a multiverse hopping sensation. Beloved by fans as a showcase for Michelle Yeoh and her hot dog fingers. Anyhow, it had 11 nominations, this film, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Best Director, Kwan and Scheinert Daniels clinched that one, and 4 acting nods, and Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan and Jamie Lee Curtis all won. And so the movie actually won 7 awards, including Best Picture. And as you can tell by my butchering of the names, I did not see the movie. In fact, I did not watch the Oscars, but I heard that Jimmy Kimmel hosted it. Had I known that, of course I would have tuned in. Or not.
I met a lewd nude in Bermuda. But dude, she was shrewd, I was shrewder. She doed it quite crude to be rude in the nude. I pursued her, so dude her and screwed her.
Ah, yes, nothing like Irish chivalry, right? Okay. Now, last week we came up with this little game called What is Your Mount Rushmore of Rock and Roll? If you recall, which you probably don't because you weren't watching, but I picked Elvis, John Lennon, Mick Jagger, and Eric Clapton to be on my Mount Rushmore of Rock. And I invited you all to email me with your choices. And lo and behold, some of you did. And so now I'd like to share some of those suggestions. But first, I need to change back into the shirt I was wearing. And boy, that's going to smell nice. So I'm going to read some of your choices for your own personal Mount Rushmore of rock and roll. Todd in Pennsylvania says his choices to be on the Mount Rushmore of rock are Chuck Berry, Bob Dylan, John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, and Little Richard. Well, those are all awesome and deserving artists. There's also 5 of them, so bye-bye, Todd in Pennsylvania. Learn to count, dude. Bob in Florida says his 4 faces would be Elvis, Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Bruce Springsteen. 4 interesting and well-deserving faces. And they numbered 4. Little Debbie in East Texas says her Mount Rushmore of rock would be Janis Joplin, the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and David Bowie. So Janis Joplin, the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and David Bowie. So Janis Joplin, the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, they're all from Texas. So of course, Little Debbie, being a Texas resident, has to pick Texas artists, even though she's never heard of any of their songs. And then she, of course, picked David Bowie, who's not from Texas, but he is from Mars. Spiders from Mars. Interesting. Actually, they all are pretty deserving, too. Larry in West Virginia. His Mount Rushmore would be Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, and Mick Jagger. So Larry also has a little bit of a arithmetic problem. He better not be a teacher, or if he is, he better not get into math. Can't have 2 faces from the same band, Larry in West Virginia. And you can only have 4. That's what makes it so damn hard, right? Nonetheless, those are all awesome. So, maybe we need to purchase some more land there in South Dakota and expand that Mount Rushmore. Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. Yeah. We can all argue about presidents. Ron in Ohio went with David Gilmour, Neil Peart, Chris Squire, and Keith Emerson. A different tact, and I like it. And he's got a whole band there, so you could literally, not only put their faces up there, but put their instruments there, and they'd look like a real band. Good choices there, Ron from Ohio. John in Indiana, pulled that one out of my ass. His choices for his own Mount Rushmore of Rock are Chuck Berry, John Lennon, David Bowie, and Bob Marley. 4 awesome artists. Marley, reggae, they're all genres are kind of connected, but I think Marley doesn't cut it. It's rock and roll. None of it matters because it all is connected. Rock comes from country, comes from blues, hip hop comes from this, all that. No, we're got to be on point here. But good artists. Someone named Lenny in Georgia, his personal Mount Rushmore is Led Zeppelin, Rush, Pink Floyd, Michael Stanley, and Rainbow. A lot to unpack there. Not one individual there. Led Zeppelin, okay, but Page, Plant, John Bonham, John Paul Jones, Rush, Geddy Lee, Neil Peart. Come on, Lenny. Work with me here. Pink Floyd, Gilmore, Waters. Who are we talking about? Michael Stanley, Michael, Stanley, Michael. Rainbow, Judy Garland. And Tony in Memphis picked 4 good ones. Elvis, Chuck Berry, John Lennon, and Bob Dylan. Can't really argue with that. Dylan, of course, had that folk thing, so I don't know. And somebody named Kevin Bacon in Michigan picked Paul McCartney, Clapton, David Bowie, and Bruce Springsteen. That Kevin Bacon's always turning up somewhere, isn't he? Oh, and there was one more. Bill in Cleveland only had one entry for his Mount Rushmore. It was Vanilla Ice. Smells much better in here. Oh, wait. It's time for another limerick from Lucky Kevin.
There was a girl from Rabat who had triplets, Nat, Pat, and Tat. It was phone in the breeding, both ale in the feeding. When she found she had no teeth for tat.
It's a little Irish breastfeeding joke. She had 3 babies and only 2. Never mind. Well, that's about it, kids, for this edition of A Very Odd Caster. If you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email at veryoddcaster@gmail.com. That's veryoddcaster@gmail.com. That concludes this program, and I'm about to head on out of here to Savannah, Georgia to enjoy the St. Patrick's Day festivities. And I love St. Patrick's Day because for me, it's the unofficial end of winter, right? It's still kind of 3 days after that we formally begin spring. But for me, St. Patrick's Day is the day. It's the end of winter, beginning of spring. And by the way, it is also the end of this winter season of A Very Odd Caster. So we will reconvene in the spring with the birds chirping, the squirrels crackling their nuts. Sounds like a personal problem. And I'll see you all then. All 2 of you.
Yes, that's what happens when you use tissues that have already been used. You got a problem with my names there, Mr. Castor. Yeah, well, and then another year I was drinking Guinness with the Kalen Elaine. 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 Kalen Elaine. 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 I remember one St. Patrick's Day meet. This Irishman. The Irishman keeps calling me on the phone. I don't know. Once.
Are you still there? Oh, hi.
Limerick number 2. Limerick number. Limerick number 2. As soon as the plane gets the hell out of there. I met a lewd dude in Bermuda who don't do it, who do it. Was rude, I was rude. Who do it quite rude to be rude in the name. Or soothe her, or soothe her, or soothe her. I met a lewd nude in Bermuda who thought she was shrewd. There was a girl from Rabat who had triplets, not patent tat, not patent tat. There was a girl from. I tried to climb the castle to rescue the damsel. She was greener than Shrek. I was thinking about shaving. Nah. Green Acres is the place to be. Far living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside. New York is where I'd rather stay. Somewhere high in the castle. There were screams for help by a young damsel in distress. I don't hear nothing, do you? Oh, Donny boy, the pipes are calling.